Well, we're doing this on a mini bed of sorts, and I'm holding the camcorder in one hand, which means it's another one of these things. And, the day that we never thought would happen actually did. Intellivision has a new console out. No, I'm not talking about the Vision. I'm talking about well, we're doing this on a bed of sorts, and also I'm holding the camcorder with one hand, which means I only have one hand free to do just about everything else, quite frankly. So the day that we never thought would come has finally arrived. Intellivision has put out a brand spanking new console. Unfortunately, it's not the one that was announced ages ago and was promised and will probably never see the light of day, but an entirely different console that, it's the Intellivision Sprint, everyone. Video game console. In case you were unsure as to what kind of console it actually was. Rated E for everyone. That's always nice. Includes wireless disc controllers. That's a step up from the old Intellivision, which had hardwired controllers, and 45 built-in games, including Boulder Dash. We got Boulder Dash, everyone. We've got Boulder Dash. That's going to be a system seller. I've never played Boulder Dash, so the appeal escapes me, but I'm sure it's a classic game because it's been on every goddamn console. And on your mark, get set, play. Intellivision on the side, Intellivision on the other side, and more stuff on the back. Journey back to the golden age of gaming. You can read, I don't have to read that out for you. We've got some features, built-in games, Astro Smash, B-17 Bomber, Bomb Squad, Chip Shot, Super Pro Golf, Night Stalker, Space Battle, Star Strike, Sup Hunt, Super Pro Football, Thin Ice, Thunder Castle, Thunder of Doom, Utopia, and more. Includes Intellivision console, 2 wireless controllers, USB power cord, AC adapter not included, TISC, and HDMI cable, because nobody has those lying around. Play your favorite games without the wires, except for ones that power the consoles. And hooks up to your TV set so you can have picture on the screen. Exclusive overlays for all 45 games. Well, that's kind of cool, though. We got Boulder Dash, and we got Shark. At last we could play Shark. Unless you already have an Intellivision at home. And, here we got all the things here. We got the dimensions. All that jazz. Oh, storage. 256 megabytes. RAM, 256 megabytes. Plastic, metal, and stuff. AC adapter not included. Mild fantasy violence. Don't throw it in the bin. FCC. And, thing. No sad onion. So, for Dot the 3 and ups, can play this. Right, so this is the latest Atari product. For those who don't know, Atari acquired the rights to Intellivision and the games and all that jazz, but they didn't take the Vision. The Vision is now its own thing, except without the Intellivision branding, which, look, that's a can of worms I don't want to touch. It's been touched on by so many people, it's crawling with germs. So, let's leave that alone. Let's just focus on this, which, by the way, I got a new VCR, by which I got another VCR. I pulled one from, I had another one lying around. And the Intellivision 2 that I had works now, so I could play games on that now, and we could use that for video fodder. So I didn't need to get this, but on the other hand, I do kind of like that we have wireless Intellivision controllers, and I don't know, maybe a newer Intellivision system that's more recent with controllers that aren't as ancient, shall we say, might turn me around to the appeal of this controller design. Then again, it might not. One way or another, the controllers are wireless, so that's one positive. And I'm going to look for a knife so we could cut it open and be right back. Okay, boys and girls and everyone in between, we're about to open this box up. Boom! That's quite a large system, actually. Nice and shiny, too. And normally there would be a cartridge slot somewhere, but we don't have that. We have... let's see what we have here. We have a HDMI, we have 3 USB ports, USB-C for power, and 2 buttons for syncing your controllers, obviously. These are your disc controllers, which okay, it does light up. It's looking for the thing there. Okay, and these snap back in place. So it's not bad. Like, it's not a bad looking thing. Reset, power on, power off. You got a bit of the fake wood grain on there, so that's, I don't know, it's a nice looking console. I wish I had an Intellivision 1 to compare this to, but I don't. I'll pull out the Intellivision 2, see how that compares, but I imagine this is a little larger than that even. Anyways, we'll set this aside for now. We got a quick start guide, which I guess tells you how to set the system up and sync in controllers. And it's just a piece of paper. That's all it is. And we'll open this side. It's just a carton. And we got this piece of business, which everything is out of place. But you got your HDMI cable, which again, you really have plenty of those. We got your USB-C power cable thing, which again, we have plenty of those. And then we got remove. Okay, so these are the overlays for all 45 games, I presume. And right, so I shall attempt to do this. Yes. Okay, so I'm presuming that these are the 45 overlays, and you've got 2 pairs for both controllers, which, yes, okay. Okay, so you have, so you got Slapshot Super Pro Hockey, got Slam Dunk, Triple Challenge Chess. You know what? Hold on. Okay, we're on the table now proper, so I can scan through these, and we can sort of sample how many of these games we have to deal with. So we've got Slapshot Super Pro Hockey, that's the overlay. Slam Dunk Super Pro Basketball, that's the overlay. Triple Challenge Chess. Pinball, that's exciting. Triple Action. That fell on the floor. I caught it right between the legs. Fire Accelerate, I guess that's a racing game of sorts. Takeover. Create City. Okay. I have no context for most of these whatsoever, so tennis, stadium mud buggies, Star Strike. Got Star Strike. I've played that on Atari, so we could sample the Intellivision version. Fuck me. Sub Hunt, Soccer, Super Pro Decathlon, Space Armada, Tower of Doom, Thunder Castle, Super Pro Football, Buzz Bombers, Chip Shot Super Pro Golf, Utopia, Vectron. Somebody can explain to me how the fuck this game works. Shark, Thin Ice, King of the Mountain, Hover Force, Golf, Space Spartans, Sea Battle, Space Battle, Spiker Super Pro Volleyball, Triple Challenge Chess. Didn't we do Triple Challenge? Oh, anyways, who cares? Snafu, Astro Smash, Motocross, goddamn, Night Stalker, Triple Challenge Checkers, Auto Racing, Bomb Squad, Baseball. Ooh! Oh, we have the Body Slam Super Pro Wrestling. We might actually, you know what? I've heard good things about this one actually, so that might be worth checking out one of these days. Armor Battle, Boulder Dash, the infamous, the amazing Boulder Dash that they proudly advertise on the front of the box, but fuck that shit. We've got there you go. Deep Pockets Super Pro Pool and Billiards. Fantastic. Frog Bog. Mountain Madness Super Pro Skiing. And Reversey. So we got 45 overlays for 45 games, most of which I am probably never going to touch. Mostly the sports games, but we've got stuff to work from here. Or at least stuff that we could turn into interesting video fodder if we ever need to get to that point, so that's something. But then again, I thought the same thing about the 400 Mini that I bought like a year or two ago, so who knows, really. Anyways, I guess the only thing we could do now is sample some footage, try the system out, and see what we can do with it, I guess. Anyways, be back in the jip. Alright, so let's talk about the controllers, which are a recreation, obviously, of the original Intellivision disc controllers that came hardwired with the console back in 1980. I don't have an original Intellivision to compare this to, but I do have an Intellivision 2, which is almost the same thing. Yeah, there you go. These are actually roughly the same size, so it's actually not bad. The buttons are a little more spaced out here. The buttons are a little closer here. The keypad on here is much nicer to touch. This one is not so much. For the record, I played a few games. It's not much of a difference in using the keypad, but this does feel a little nicer. So I'm guessing that's an original hardware trait and not just something that they did to improve on the original design or whatever the case may be. In any event, one improvement that is immediately noticeable, or not noticeable in this case, is there's no wire. It's wireless. USB-C, and it's got a sync button in the back. Syncing button. So you could sync this to your console, your Intellivision Sprint thing, which is fairly easy to do. You know, you press a button on the console, you press a button on here, and it sort of registers, and you just snap the thing into the console, as you'll see, just fine. So as a controller, it's not my favorite. Not one of my favorite controllers to use, but it does work as intended, so I can't really complain all that much. And need to be better prepared. I'm not. Let's see, we got the inlays here. The inserts, whatever you want to call them. They're all nice, matte finish, all that stuff. Take Astral Smash, since I'm going to be playing that for the purposes of videoing. And that goes in like that. Like so. A bit of a struggle sometimes. They say you're supposed to remove the film that's on top, but I choose to leave it on and it still fits. So it's not all that bad, actually. Now, these are fine for, you know, for this, because it's the games that come in. But let's say you have some original Intellivision games that you can't play because there's no cartridge slot. But you do have the ROMs for the games that you own. And one of the games he owns is Tron Deadly Discs, and sure enough, there's a insert here, a little wear for tear. I got a nicer one here. Let me use the nicer one, the slightly nicer one. Yeah, there you go. This one's original from back in the day, so you know, and it's not included in there because Tron is a licensed title from the Disney Corporation. But you could just fit that in here, kind of, sorta. Come on, you can do it. These things are old, but not that old. Come on, you can do it. There you go. I promise you, I tried a couple other inserts and it worked a lot better than this. The corners are a little chipped, that's why. So it's a bit of a struggle. Depends on the card. But yeah, if you have a ROM of Deadly Discs that you could load onto the Sprint, and you have the inserts, you could use the inserts, and they work just fine. So that's an option. That's a thing you could do. It's nice and compatible with the old inserts, and if you want to make your own, I guess you could. I guess there's a way to do it. There's lots of people that'll come up with stuff. So that's the controller. That's a look into the controllers. They work as well as they should, and whether that's a good thing or not, it's entirely up to you, but not much else to say there. I could tell you about my issues with the controllers, but that's like purely from a player's point of view and not so much the technical or hardware. Like, for the most part, it's fine. So let's check out the software side of things, such as it is. So when you boot up the console, you get the startup, and then you get the menu, which is laid out in the same fashion as the Atari 400 Mini for those who remember that thing. You could scroll through the selection with the disc. There's box art, screenshots, and a description for each game. Then you press enter to start playing, at which point it's old school Intellivision. So old school that if you want to get back to the menu, you have to push the reset button on your console. No shortcuts on these controllers. The emulation, for the most part, is pretty good, or at least fairly consistent with what I've seen of Intellivision. Sounds fairly accurate, the colors look okay, no glitches or abnormalities encountered, and IntelliVoice functionality included with some games. Well, hear for yourself. Yeah, I was going to do an in-game shot, but capture card cuts off at the beginning, so we're going to do it like this.
I B-17 bomber.
Not reading the whole thing, it doesn't quite have the same punch. For curious parties, this is how it sounded like originally.
Mattel Electronics presents B-17 bomber. B-17 bomber. B-17 bomber.
In terms of the overall game selection, which at last count is about 40 or so, I don't have the exact count on me, I believe you're getting most of the first party stuff. A lot of the familiar mainstays like Shark and Frog Bog and what have you, and that's about it. Now, if you're looking for licensed stuff based on movies and arcade titles, it's either under a different name or not included at all. And the same can be said for anything originally from Atari or Activision or other third parties that originally released games for Intellivision. And while there is no cartridge slot, despite the controllers being able to fit the original inserts from back in the day, you can sideload ROMs via USB drive, which will replace the stock offering with a list of whatever ROMs you have on your drive. And if you remove the drive, it goes back to the default set, so no real issues there. On a whole, I'm actually quite happy with the Sprint. It's a nice recreation of a vintage console, the game selection's pretty good if you're just sticking with what's in the box. Now I'd imagine those who grew up on Intellivision would likely spot some nicks to be picked in regards to the emulation and scrutinize the details a little more. But from what I've heard, reaction has been generally positive, and for my part, I've been getting quite a bit of mileage out of it. Certainly quite a bit of video fodder for the future. And I guess the only real question is, who is this aimed for? Who would want this? Old-timey players of a certain vintage might, taking a liking to this thing, be able to play on modern televisions without much fuss, though the lack of a cartridge slot might hurt things a bit. Less old players who only grew up on Nintendo or Sega or whatever, who knows with them. Any younger, and they'd probably look at this thing and go, hey, that's not an Amico Vision. And they'd be right, it's not an Amico Vision. For one thing, this actually exists. But also, let's be fair, if you didn't care for the old Atari stuff, would this be any better with its keypads and discs thing and whatever the case may be? At the end of the day, I really don't know. That depends on the individual and their individual tastes in gaming. I can only speak for myself in this regard, and as far as the Intellivision Sprint is concerned, I didn't mind this. It's good enough for me. Works. So, I guess it's a thumbs up. I don't know. Depends if you're into this sort of thing. If you are, great, it's worth picking up, it works well. If not, there's plenty of other things you could check out, and that's okay too. So, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Till next time, take care, be safe, and good night. Bye.